All right, so check this out, right? Something else that I noticed about our Dash and Bash theme. Have you noticed that they were all white and they all had black ski masks? Does that qualify as blackface? Huh? Hmm.
Yeah, but
Inquiring minds want to know.
there are people who white people who dress up as black people and rob banks on purpose. So that is a
Yeah,
thing.
and bash windows during the protests.
Yeah. So, well, pretty much with this dash and bash, oh, you just disappeared and froze this now. Yeah. So with this dash and bash,
Am I
um,
frozen?
yeah, with this dash and bash, this day is kind of bigger. It's like Christmas. It's like it feels like Christmas right now. Everyone's getting their Christmas gifts in the form of checks in their accounts. That 1,400 right now, but some people, not Santa is like nah, I don't think you owe. I don't think you good for that money. I'm gonna wait till I'm gonna wait until I see it and then I'm gonna give it to you. So that's what Christmas. That's what Santa Claus is acting like right now. So I'll put this article real quick about why actually saw on Twitter people like saying, "Hey, I saw the $1,400 in my account in the Chase account, and then it disappeared. Like they took it back out." Um, so what's happening here? This is a joke here in the headline. Pretty much, Amazon can get anything in the world physically to your door in under 48 hours. It takes Uncle Sam 6 days to get your money. So that's what's happening right now in America. Um, so that time delay is causing a million, it's causing people to hurt right now. Why you think people literally the Wells Fargo, the next article we're going to talk about how the Wells Fargo website went down because people kept refreshing it. Literally, our last Black Power Magic Hour, we told people, hey, keep refreshing to see your balance. And then people crash the Wells Fargo account. That doesn't show you that people need that money. I don't know what else you can
And
say.
and it's not like they need the money to make bills this month. They needed that money to make bills 12 months ago, 11 months ago, 10 months ago, 9 months ago, 8 months ago, so on and so forth.
When the lockdown started, it's when the lockdown started. People are like desperate to pay right now.
How about the overdue food bill for your belly so that you can continue to keep living so that you can either get a job if you're currently unemployed or to continue making the ends meet if you are working and possibly underemployed. So that's a group of people that don't get enough enough attention. They say, well, the economy is doing good because it added X number of jobs, but that job is like 7 hours a week at the lowest amount that the government will allow them to be paid. So yes, technically they are employed. Are they gainfully employed? Are they making a living wage? Do we really need to
And what
get
do
me
you mean by
started on that shit
gainfully
again?
employed? You mean gainfully employed as in like people have benefits and healthcare?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but like this really breaks down like how money's moved around in the world and like how the IRS was sending money was due pretty much due to ACH network, which is like you probably see this in your checks, you see this in your doing a contract or doing if you even read the stuff that when you sign up for things. The CHA network is you see a lot of that when it comes to like getting money and stuff like that. And
Mm.
apparently they send it through the system and they set a time. We're gonna send it at a certain time. We're gonna send it at March 17th, 8:30. That's what the IRS pretty much said they're gonna send it. And how other people got their money early is because banks have a lot of money already. Banks have so much money already that they can actually maybe give you the money, and then the 1,400 they can just get the 1,400 RS and hold that. And that's what some institutions did, like Chime. They like bet we know the RS is going to give us this money, so we're going to give our customers this money 3 days earlier, 6 days earlier, and that's what they did. And they're not even as big as J.P. Morgan Chase. They're not as big as Wells Fargo. Those are
Yeah,
massive,
they're relatively new too, so they don't
super
have the
villain
kind of
banks,
equity that
super
the
villain
other
banks
banks
that
do.
refuse to do the same kind of courtesy. So they do that to billionaires and billionaires all the time. You get into that kind of financing, yo, I need this money right now. Those banks will loan out that millions and trillions of dollars ASAP. But you're 1,400, they're like, no, I'm gonna wait for the RS to. I don't know. I'm gonna wait for the RS 8:30. Like
Yeah,
what's
it's
up with
funny because if it was Jeff Bezos who was getting the money, he would get his money immediately, and it's not even really his money, because what the wealthiest people do is that they get these credit lines that borrow against their non-liquid wealth. So, they are able to make purchases of, billion-dollar yachts, and they don't actually technically have the money. But we're talking about the US government, who they've signed the bill into law. You know that the money is coming because remember when you needed the money, big banks? Do you remember when you needed the bailout?
2008.
You knew that the government was good for it because they put money in your fucking pocket.
But as you see here, Chime, as you said, Chime is partnered with 2 banks, and those banks, like you said, like they put their money on the line because they knew the IRS was going to reimburse. So they did that for their customers.
I mean, look at
one of the smallest banks. They're not, like you said, they're not J.P. Morgan Chase.
2 or 3 days could be all the difference for some people.
So, and that's what happened. That's what the slowdown happened. Banks refused to credit their poorest customers. That's what this went down just now. Customer like, I don't think we got denied a loan without realizing it just now. And
it's not even a real loan.
You got denied.
Remember that money. Remember, where is that money coming from? That money is coming from the taxpayers. Who are the taxpayers? That's us.
Yeah.
We're just receiving some of the money back that's already ours, or should be ours. But let me ask you this question: Did you get your stimmy?
You get your stimmy pack.
Did you get your stimmy?
So, because that's the thing.
I'm asking you, motherfucker. I'm asking you.
That's what crashed the website, huh? What?
I'm asking you.
I get stimmy.
Did you get your stimmy yet?
Oh yeah, I got it. I got.
So I gotta ask you, what'd you do with your stimmy?
Nothing. I'm scared. I think the world's gonna fucking end. So I'm.
Yeah, I was actually gonna say, as soon as I recognize that shit hit my account, I just put it right in the savings account. And let that shit sit. Like, so, it's really crazy. One of the things that really grinds my gears about some of the things that I'm seeing on social media is that poor people are trying to shame other poor people because they assume that poor people are going to squander the money. So they have to get on their soapbox and they have to tell everybody what to do and what not to do.
That is a big myth about poor
and it's like, you should invest the money. How about the fact that people's basic needs have not been met in a full year? And you're talking about, don't buy Jordans with the money. Like, really? Like, the suicide rate is probably the highest that it's ever been in the country's history.
If a pair of Jordans makes somebody happy, then that makes somebody happy. I don't give a fuck.
That's what I'm saying. I would not buy AirPods Max, right?
Keep tapping that sneakers app. Hopefully you get you get lucky. You probably won't, but do it to make you happy. I hate that shaming,
Yeah, I saw people trying to bash people when the AirPods Max was released for like $550. Oh, you should buy Bitcoin and you should do that. No, you should do whatever it is that makes life worth living for you. And if you squander it and you don't have any, just don't ask me for any money. That's what I'm saying. Like, yes, I did say that I put it in my savings account, but don't be hitting me up at Black Power Magic Hour on Twitter talking about, let me hold some of that stimmy. Nah, I'm sorry, I can't help you. But I'm definitely not gonna be judging people for how they use money that has been long overdue. I'm just not going to do that. Sorry, I had to throw that in there for the.
I have to think. I think about this from my own experience when I was like, So this article just backs up about how people would just crash in the Wells Fargo's app, trying to check their accounts because Wells Fargo refused to credit people. But people don't understand that kind of financial literacy, so they don't understand. A lot of people don't get that's what's happening. That's why, they rightfully so. The money should be there, but it's not. So.
And here's another part of that too that people may or may not understand.
Yeah.
when the government transferred those funds to the banks, them holding that money an extra couple of days generates a lot of money for them in interest. Just them holding the funds generates funds for them. So we're talking about a national emergency that's been going on for a year, the likes of which maybe only a handful of people out of the 330 million have ever seen in life. And these banks are trying to find ways to profit. What do we call that when people are trying to get gains off of tragedies and off of hardship? What do we call that?
You have to mind you, the banks also they collect like almost like how many billions of dollars of overdraft fees? How much money do they already take from poor people already?
And how much more did they take when everybody lost their jobs during this crisis?
And you have to think about also like this, the big, like how much money. So you see the 1400. Yeah, I'm focused on that 1400. I'm focused on that 1400. But you have to realize that this is like to the banks, they see an ocean of like $500 billion coming into their assets. So they're like, whoa, dude. So what can we do just for 3 hours with that money? It's like, what can we do for 45 minutes with that money before we get to somebody? So it's like, that's what these big banks think like. So,
Yep.
yeah, who knows?
It's to me, it's pretty gross. Oh, and by the way, for those not fully understanding where I was going with that, people trying to profit off of tragedies and hardships, it's called looting. That's what that is. So for all you people that, I don't agree with looting, that's what that is. What the banks have done, holding people's money for several days to draw millions of dollars in profits.
Oh, they didn't hold it for 7 days. I mean, they knew that the money was credited to their accounts. The money was coming to accounts by the 17th. Just that Chimes had the asset, had the ability, had the know-how to like credit that money to people.
Oh, they all have the know-how. They all have the know-how, but they chose their know-how to try to draw interest on your money. They weren't drawing interest on their own assets. They were drawing interest off of your money. That's looting. For all you people that want to talk about broken windows and stolen $100 sneakers, how about millions in interest off of money that wasn't theirs to draw interest on in the first place? Millions.
Yeah,
not $150.
Yeah, but
millions.
I think the statement is saying that the banks didn't even get the money until Wednesday. It was the they didn't see the actual RS money until Wednesday. It was Chime to actually credit the money because they knew that money was coming.
Yeah,
other banks didn't do that. So
now there were people that even outside of Chime that got their money from other banks, but it was two banks in particular.
Yeah.
Who they were talking about Wells Fargo. What was it Chase? Was it Chase the other one?
JP Morgan Chase. Yeah, that's what we're saying. JP Morgan Chase and Wells Fargo. They chose not to credit that money, even though they knew that money was coming. They chose not to credit the 1400 to people. Once the bill was signed, they chose not to credit to people. That money wasn't there yet. The money wasn't transferred to RS until March 17th because the RS used some antiquated ACH network system that transacts the money to people's account. It could have been a same day transaction, but it chose this ACH network system. But a few banks decided to credit the money. Other banks chose not to, and happenstance was some of the biggest banks that chose not to credit that money.
Okay, so I was mistaken. All right, so I have to eat that. I was mistaken. Yeah. So in that case, if it's not, because the way that I originally understood it was that, they got this windfall and then they had to, wait to process it. And then in that, because anytime you have assets on hand as a bank, you do generate money for having those assets in your possession. Yeah. So if they never actually had the assets in their possession, then I'm mistaken, and I apologize for that.
But at the same time, they can still make money off of knowing that, because that's like knowing that you have that kind of money just for that moment. Who knows what kind of financial stuff happened? Why other banks chose to credit people they could have used that credit for some other reason,
Yeah,
and
I
come to
think,
the interest of
but
that
I
bill.
think that,
So
I think that you're correct
yeah,
that they could have done
yeah,
that. It's hard for me to say, well, as a for-profit organization, I'm going to expect them to do. I'm going to expect them to adhere to my version of morality by doing something that they really didn't have to do. Would have been nice if they did it.
and
Yes, because they do a lot of unnecessary stuff that they don't have to do to take advantage of people every
yeah,
single
all the
day.
time. Yeah, they do. Yeah,
Right.
they have a laundry list of that stuff all day.
Right.
They can like, you get fees
But
on
it's
your
hard for
account
me to
all the
criticize
time.
them on that because
Yeah,
it's easier for people to screw people over than to hand out olive branches. So
yeah,
I'm not going to be naive and say, well, why didn't you do this thing that you normally wouldn't do because you're, really greedy, super uber wealthy people? Like I would be the idiot at that point. So yeah, I was mistaken. I was under the mistaken impression that they use their oh, it takes several days to clear, but meanwhile they're just holding the fucking money because that's normally how it works
I mean, that's
when
what they do all the fucking. Yeah, that's
that
exactly.
is
I
what
mean,
that's normally how it works. So that
yeah.
was my previous understanding. So if so it seems that I was mistaken.
But
So
now, this,
I'll own
but
that.
now, past today, if you're not getting your money, then that is now because that's what I'm hearing. I'm already hearing stories. I heard stories this morning on Twitter that people are not seeing they see the money and the money disappeared. So something else may be happening at the same time.
Oh
But
wow, we got phantom dollars.
yeah, so who knows what's going on? But that's the dash and bash segment. Watch your money. Because the IRS, those debt collectors, they're trying to like figure out how to get random debt collectors, random car warranty places from taking your money somehow.
What I read on the debt collection part of it
Yeah,
is that for like once the IRS is actually looking to give people relief on debt collection rather than having people be ravaged by it. For people who did owe income taxes, the IRS is taking a less heavy-handed approach to how much of that money that they're taking from people this time around. So you got to give them a little bit of credit for that. Got to recognize that they've done that. They're not allowing people to just, reach in and grab that money. But for the most part, again, we're not talking about $1,400 and everybody's going to be able to retire and never go back to work. We're looking at you, Mitch McConnell, right? $1,400. Nobody's retiring on $1,400. Nobody, right? So we are going back to work. And a lot of us are getting that money and working. See, I'm here right now. See, I'm behind the
People
camera.
still working.
I'm working. So, some of us are in a position where we can use that money for a rainy day fund in case something really bad happens between now and when they declare the pandemic to be over. But I'm just going to be grateful for the position that I'm in and also happy for people who have been struggling who get to breathe for just a few minutes.
Yeah, I'm happy. I mean, it feels like, like I said, this is the end of Dash and Bash. It's mass looting happening, but at least you snatched a fitted and like a scarf or something out of it. That's what it feels like. This is Black Power Magic Hour on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube on act.tv with over 47,000 subscribers. Follow Dr. Genius. He's on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook, and that's Dash and Bash.